99%. It's not a guess. It's not an exaggeration to grab your attention. It is a statistical tombstone marking the graves of millions of trading accounts. 99% of those who enter this arena will fail to achieve consistent, life-altering success. They will be chewed up and spit out by the market, left broken, confused, and convinced that the game is rigged against them. But the game isn't rigged. It's a test. A brutally efficient psychological test that has only one question. Who are you? And it's a test that nearly every single person is fundamentally unprepared to pass. Part 1. The illusionary path to ruin. The reason for this mass extinction event has nothing to do with intelligence. It has nothing to do with the complexity of your charts or the cost of your trading course. It has everything to do with a single, foundational choice that every trader makes, whether they know it or not. Imagine you are standing at a fork in the road. This is where your trading journey truly begins. One path is wide, paved, and brilliantly lit. It looks effortless. Road signs promise top secret indicators. 95% win rates and the holy grail system. This is the path of easy strategy. It's the path that the 99% take. And it is a lie. Every single time. That smooth, easy road leads directly off a cliff into a dark chasm of blown accounts and shattered dreams. The other path is different. It is steep, unpaved, and disappears into a formidable mountain shrouded in fog. There are no promises here. The only signpost is a weathered piece of wood with 2 words carved into it. Hard psychology. This is the path the 1% choose to climb. And it is the only path that leads to the summit. We will not analyze a new strategy today, but we will diagnose why the paved road is so alluring. We will expose the lie. And then I will hand you the map for the mountain. The siren song of the cliff edge is almost impossible for the human brain to resist. Why is it so? Because it offers elegant, simple solutions to deep, complex problems. It promises to remove the one thing we can't stand, emotional pain. The first promise is a lie of the perfect system, the if-then formula, the black box indicator that turns trading from a terrifying art of probabilities into a simple paint-by-numbers exercise. It feels like a godsend. It feels like safety. Our minds are wired to seek patterns and crave certainty. An unknown future creates anxiety, and a system that tells you exactly when to buy and sell feels like the ultimate cure for that anxiety. The gurus who sell these systems are not really selling you an edge in the market. They are selling you a psychological painkiller. They are selling you an escape from the crushing weight of making a decision and having to bear the responsibility if you are wrong. You aren't buying a strategy. You are buying an escape from accountability. So when the system inevitably fails, because no rigid mechanical system can ever truly master a fluid, chaotic market, the trader feels no pain of personal failure. They think, I did my part. I followed the rules perfectly. The system is broken. And so their journey continues. They discard the broken tool and immediately begin their hunt for a new one, a better one, the real one this time. They spend years jumping from one holy grail to the next, never realizing that the problem isn't the system they are using. The problem is the underlying belief that any system can protect them from themselves. The second, more insidious promise of the easy strategy path is the comfort of the external game. As long as your focus is on the outside world, on the charts, the indicators, the news, the economic data, the market makers, you never have to turn your gaze inward. It is profoundly comfortable to blame your losses on external forces. I was hunted for my stop. The institutions manipulated the price. It was a freak news event. These are the stories losing traders tell themselves to soothe the agony of their ego. It is a story where they are the victim, not the culprit. The alternative is terrifying. The alternative is to admit the truth. I entered that trade out of a desperate fear of missing out. I doubled down on that loser because my ego could not stand the thought of being wrong. I revenge traded because I was furious and lost all control. This is the real work. This is the mirror. And the easy strategy path promises you will never have to look into it. The 99% will spend thousands of hours analyzing candlestick patterns, but they will not spend 10 minutes analyzing their own internal patterns of fear and greed. They seek mastery over everything except the one variable that actually controls their results. That is themselves. Part 2, the unseen enemy, your own mind. If you want to understand why so many intelligent people fail in the markets, you have to stop looking at the charts and start looking at biology. You have to understand that you are running sophisticated trading software on hardware that was designed for survival in the wild, not for navigating the chaos of modern financial markets. Your brain is not built for this. It is actively working against you, and until you understand its wiring, you are destined to be its victim. The first and most profound design flaw is your brain's absolute intolerance for uncertainty. Our ancestors survived because they were brilliant at recognizing patterns and creating certainty out of a dangerous world. Those clouds mean a storm is coming. That rustle in the bushes means a predator is near. Certainty meant survival. Uncertainty meant death. This ancient programming is burned into your DNA. The feeling you get when you're in a trade with an unknown outcome, that tightness in your chest, that frantic need to know what's going to happen next, is the same primal fear your ancestors felt when they heard a twig snap in the dead of night. Now consider the market. The market is a perfect, pure engine of uncertainty. It is the most chaotic, random, and unpredictable environment a modern human will ever encounter. There are no guarantees. The pattern that worked yesterday can violently fail today. An army of PhDs with supercomputers cannot tell you with certainty where the price will be in the next 10 seconds. The market is the embodiment of everything your ancient brain has evolved to fear. So, how does this biologically hardwired programming make you lose money? It forces you into predictable, losing behaviors in a desperate attempt to create a feeling of certainty where none exists. It's why you jump into a trade too early, before you have full confirmation, because the anxiety of watching and waiting is too much to bear. It's why you stare at the 1-minute chart, trying to find a pattern in the noise, because zooming out to the daily chart reveals a future that is too vast and unknown. It's why you close a winning trade for a tiny profit, just to lock in a small feeling of certainty and relieve the anxiety of holding on for a bigger but unknown gain. Your every instinct, designed to keep you safe in the real world, is perfectly calibrated to destroy you in the market. The 99% believe they are fighting the market. The 1% understand they are fighting their own brain. The second design flaw is even more insidious. It's what turns trading from a difficult profession into a destructive addiction. Your brain is exquisitely sensitive to something called intermittent reinforcement, and the market is the most powerful intermittent reinforcement machine ever invented. Imagine 2 slot machines. The first one is broken. You pull the lever 100 times and get nothing. You quickly get bored and walk away. The second machine is different. You pull the lever 10 times and get nothing. You're about to walk away, but on the 11th pull, you hit a small jackpot. A rush of dopamine floods your brain. Pleasure, reward. So you keep pulling. Nothing, 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 then another small win. Nothing, then a big one. This second machine is addictive. The unpredictability of the reward is what hooks you. Now think about your trading. You follow your plan, take a trade, and have a small loss. You do it again, another small loss. This is boring. It feels like failure. Then you get impatient. You break all your rules and take a wild, impulsive gamble on a whim. And it works. You hit a huge winner. A massive flood of dopamine confirms your action. What has your brain just learned? It hasn't learned that you got lucky. It has learned that breaking the rules leads to pleasure. It has learned that impulsive action is what creates the reward. The 99% are trapped in this dopamine loop. They will have 5 disciplined, small losses which feel like punishment, followed by 1 undisciplined, random huge win which feels like a massive reward. Even though their account is slowly bleeding to zero, their brain is being trained over and over again to repeat the very behaviors that guarantee their destruction. They are practicing how to fail, and their own brain chemistry is making them feel good while they do it. This is why a trader can know, intellectually, that their habits are wrong, but feel physically unable to stop themselves. They are not battling a lack of knowledge. They are battling an addiction to the random reward, an addiction manufactured by their own mind. Part 3. The 3 pillars of a losing identity. To understand why a trader ultimately fails, you have to see their failure not as a single event, but as the inevitable collapse of a flawed structure. The 99% don't lose because of one bad trade. They lose because they have built their entire trading identity upon three pillars of psychological sand. These pillars feel solid. They feel like sources of strength, but they are guaranteed to crumble under the relentless pressure of the market. The first and tallest of these pillars is the ego's desperate need to be right. We are raised in a world that rewards correctness. In school, you get an A for having the right answers. At work, you get a promotion for making the right decisions. Our sense of self-worth becomes deeply, inextricably tangled with our ability to be right. Then, we step into the trading arena, an environment where being wrong is not just a possibility, but a constant, necessary, and unavoidable part of the process. An elite trader might be wrong on 40, 50, even 60% of their trades. This reality is a direct assault on the average person's ego. So what happens? The trader's subconscious mind stops trying to make money and instead starts a new game, the game of not being wrong. This manifests in two behaviors that are absolutely lethal to a trading account. First, they hold their losing trades for far too long. A trade moves against them, hitting the point where their plan set was an invalid, wrong idea. But the ego cannot accept being wrong, so it creates a new narrative. It's not wrong, it's just a pullback. I'll wait for it to come back to my entry, then I'll get out. The trade goes deeper into the red. The ego doubles down. I'll add to my position here. I was right all along, just a little early. They are no longer trading their system. They are nursing their pride, and the market makes them pay for every second of that indulgence. The flip side is just as deadly. When a trade finally works and goes in their favor, the fear of their newfound correctness being taken away becomes unbearable. The ego screams, "Lock it in now, prove you were right." And so they cut their winners short, grabbing a tiny profit just to get the satisfying feeling of booking a win and validating their prediction. Holding losers and cutting winners is the mathematical formula for blowing up an account. And it is a formula dictated not by a bad strategy, but by a fragile ego. The second pillar of failure is an allergy to stillness. The modern world has trained us to equate action with progress. We feel productive when we are busy. The idea of sitting still and doing nothing feels like laziness. It feels like a wasted opportunity. This mindset is catastrophic for a trader. Professional trading is not about constant action. It is an act of supreme patience. It is 95% waiting and 5% execution. Most of the time, the market is just chaotic noise. There is no real edge. There is no high probability setup. The correct action, overwhelmingly, is to do nothing. But the 99% cannot tolerate this. The quiet is too loud. The itch to do something is overwhelming. They feel they have to trade to be a trader. So they invent trades where none exist. They lower their standards. They take mediocre setups out of pure boredom. This pillar, this allergy to stillness, is the father of overtrading. It's why so many traders can have a brilliant week, make a substantial profit, and then give it all back on a single, boring Wednesday afternoon. Not because the market was particularly difficult, but because they simply couldn't stand the quiet. The market doesn't take their money. Their impatience gives it away. The final pillar is emotional contamination. A truly professional trader treats their trading desk as a sterile operating theater. Every decision is made based on the data and the plan. But for the 99%, the trading desk is a psychological battlefield where all the unresolved conflicts of their life play out in real time. They don't just bring their capital to the market. They bring their anger from an argument with their spouse. They bring their anxiety about paying the bills. They bring their euphoria from a big success at work. The market then becomes an inappropriate vehicle for these powerful external emotions. If they're angry, a trade becomes an act of aggression, a way to fight back against a world that has wronged them. They take on reckless risk, seeking not profit but confrontation. If they're anxious about money, every tick against them feels like a personal threat, causing them to make panicked, short-sighted decisions. If they're euphoric, they feel invincible. They believe they have a golden touch, and their trading becomes an act of arrogance, abandoning all rules of risk management. Their trades are not trades at all. They are symptoms. They are using the market as therapy, as an escape, as an arena to prove something to themselves or the world. And the market is the most expensive therapist you could ever find. When these three pillars, the need to be right, the intolerance for stillness, and emotional contamination, are the foundation of your trading identity, collapse is not a risk. It is a mathematical certainty. Part 4, Forging the 1% Mindset, Rewiring. If you recognize your own reflection in those three flawed pillars, do not despair. Recognition is the first step toward reconstruction. The human mind, for all its ancient flaws, possesses a remarkable ability to adapt. You can overwrite the faulty programming. You can consciously forge a new mindset. This is the heavy lifting. This is the most crucial part of the climb up the mountain of hard psychology. It requires taking the abstract problems we've diagnosed and applying concrete, actionable solutions. It's time to rewire your brain. The first, most powerful tool for this rewiring is the creation of a new scoreboard. This is the antidote to your brain's addiction to random rewards. As we discussed, your brain's dopamine system has been hijacked. It rewards you for impulsive, random wins, reinforcing the very habits that lead to ruin. To fix this, you have to seize control of the reward mechanism. You must create a new game to play, one where you define what a win is. From this moment on, your success as a trader is no longer measured by your profit and loss. That is an outcome you do not control. Your success is now measured only by one thing: your ability to flawlessly execute your process. Your new scoreboard is simple. At the end of each trading day, you will not ask, "Did I make money?" You will ask, "Did I follow my rules?" You will rate your day not on its monetary outcome, but on your level of discipline. Did you take only the trades that fit your plan? Did you define your risk before entering every single time? Did you honor every stop loss without hesitation? Did you take profit at your predefined target? Did you stay out of the market when you felt emotionally compromised? This is the new scorecard. You can have a day where you lose $500, but followed your rules perfectly. Under this new system, that is a 10 on 10 day. That is a victory. You must celebrate that day. You must feel pride in that outcome. Conversely, you can have a day where you break all your rules, make a lucky impulsive trade, and make $1,000. Under this new system, that is a 0 on 10 day. That is a failure. You must recognize it as such. This practice systematically rewires your brain. It disconnects the pleasure and pain response from the market's random outcomes and reattaches it to your own disciplined actions. You start getting your dopamine hit not from a green P&L number, but from the quiet satisfaction of a perfectly executed plan. You are consciously choosing to feel good about good behavior, not good luck. This is how you cure the addiction. The second part of the rewiring is a tactical weapon you must build to dismantle your ego. This is a practice of mastering the good loss. Your ego hates being wrong more than it loves making money. This must be reversed. You must learn to love losing when you lose correctly. A planned, well-managed loss is not a failure. It is the cost of doing business. It is a sign of professionalism. You must train your mind to see it not as a painful sting, but as a victory for your new identity. This requires a new mental script. The moment you take a stop loss, you cannot allow your old programming to run. The old script says, "I'm an idiot. I was wrong. I failed." The new script says something entirely different. The moment your stop is hit, you must actively and consciously tell yourself, "Good, I followed my plan. I respected my risk. I showed discipline under pressure. That was a perfect trade." You must force yourself to feel a sense of pride in that moment. You honored your promise to yourself to protect your capital. You acted like a professional casino manager, not a desperate gambler. You cut the trade cleanly, with no hesitation, no hope, no bargaining. This is incredibly difficult at first. Your ego will scream in protest. But with every repetition, you are chipping away at its power. You are teaching your subconscious mind that being wrong is not a threat to your survival or your self-worth. You are teaching it that discipline feels better than pride. The day when you can take a planned loss and feel nothing but a quiet sense of professional satisfaction, you have achieved an ego death. You have starved the beast. And you have removed the single greatest obstacle standing between you and consistent profitability. The mastery of the good loss is the beginning of all real trading success. Part 5. The Summit Life on the Mountain. So, what is the actual destination? After all this struggle, this brutal internal war, this conscious act of dismantling and rebuilding your own identity, what is the view truly like from the summit of the mountain? What does it feel like to finally become psychologically fit to win? The first thing you must understand is that it is not a place of perpetual excitement. The get-rich-quick fantasies, the dreams of being a reckless savant who can't lose, those were all illusions of the paved road. The reality of mastery is something far more profound. It is a pervasive sense of profound calm, the old, frantic anxiety, the tightness in your chest while in a trade, the desperate need to know what's going to happen next has simply evaporated. It's not that you suppressed it. It has genuinely become obsolete. It has been replaced by a tranquil and deeply empowering acceptance of uncertainty. You have made peace with the fundamental truth that you cannot predict the future, and in surrendering the need to predict, you gain the freedom to simply execute. This is a flow state you see in all elite performers. The internal monologue of doubt and fear that used to drain your mental capital is gone. The endless debate. Is this a good setup? Should I risk it? What if I'm wrong again? Maybe I should just wait for the next one. No, I'll miss out. That entire chorus of chaos has been silenced. It is replaced by a single, clear voice, the voice of your process. You have a plan, a constitution that you forged in the fires of your past failures. That plan is now your absolute law. When a trade setup appears that meets the strict criteria of your law, you don't feel a jolt of greed or a pang of fear. You feel a quiet recognition, and you act. You execute with the smooth, reflexive efficiency of a master craftsman who performed the same task 10,000 times. When the trade is over, the emotional result is also completely alien to your former self. After a win, there is no arrogant chest pounding or urge to immediately double your risk. There is only a quiet nod of acknowledgement that the process worked. After a loss, there is no soul-crushing despair or fury. There is only a quiet nod of acknowledgement that you followed your rules, protected your capital, and accepted the cost of doing business like a true professional. Your self-worth has been completely decoupled from the market's random reinforcement schedule. You're finally free. You also begin to see the market itself with new eyes. You no longer see a confusing, angry entity that is out to get you. You see a beautiful, living organism, an engine of human psychology. You can see the predictable waves of mass euphoria forming atop. You can see the tangible panic and forced liquidation in the charts during a capitulation. You see the footprints of the 99%, their greed, their fear, their impatience, painted in the very language of the candlesticks. But you are no longer swimming in those dangerous currents. You are standing on the shoreline, observing the storm with a detached, clinical understanding. You are a professional, calmly running your business, while the rest of the world is caught in an emotional hurricane. And perhaps the greatest prize of all for taking the hard path is that your edge becomes immortal. It is no longer something external that can be taken from you. It's not a secret indicator that a guru can sell to a million other people. It's not a strategy that works only in a bull market. Your edge is now you. It is your bulletproof discipline. It is your hard-won patience. It is your intimate and unforgiving self-awareness. You have now become the strategy. And you can carry that edge with you to any market, on any time frame, in any country, for the rest of your life, and the one that cannot be copied, cannot be stolen, and cannot be made obsolete. You have finally become the holy grail that you once spent years so desperately searching for on the outside. So we end once more at that fork in the road. You can see it clearly now. There's a wide, brightly lit paved road of easy strategy. It still whispers its promises of shortcuts and secrets, a life without blame, and you now know with absolute certainty that it leads directly to the cliff. And there's the steep, difficult mountain of hard psychology. It promises nothing but struggle, but at its summit lies the mastery you truly seek. The 99% will stand at that fork for their entire lives, looking down the easy road and endlessly asking the wrong question. What is the secret formula? What system am I missing? The 1% turn their back on the easy road. They face the mountain, And they ask the only question that matters. How do I master myself? Your pain, your frustration, and the ghosts of your past accounts are not evidence that you are a failure. They are evidence that you have simply been walking down the wrong path. Your suffering is your summons. It is your personal invitation to finally turn around, face the climb, and begin the real journey. The choice is yours. It always has been. So I challenge you right now to take your first deliberate step. Make a public declaration of your intent. In the comments below, state which principle you will make the absolute center of your focus this week. Will it be radical accountability? Will you finally accept 100% ownership of every outcome? Will it be creating and honoring your new scoreboard, focusing only on your process, not your P&L? Or will it be mastering the good loss and learning to feel pride in your discipline? Choose your first step. Name it. Own it. The mountain is waiting. The climb starts now.